live. Welcome to the Two versus Brother podcast, end of season edition of the Fantasy Football Gurus. We are going to discuss the Dream Team falling short and Pedro the Clown Bowl. How did he ended up being the clown, and what is his plans as we approach the opportunity for him to be the clown? Pedro,
Yes.
the moment is here. You know, it took us, for me personally, it took me a few days to adjust the end. I mean, to me it still hurts. Today is Wednesday, January 1st. um you know, still having problem adjusting my loss to Ralphie. I mean, just even looking at the scores, I mean, it was a debacle of a score. And
Yeah, bro. It's you lost. I think this is the least amount of points you put up all season. Just to come here and get to this point and put up pretty much a goose egg at that point compared to what he put up. 207 points, I think it was his score. Wow.
yeah, man, he like, you can tell that it was the luck of the lifetime for him. And Pedro, I mean, this podcast, it was supposed to be a celebratory. We were going to celebrate greatness.
Hmm.
We even had the podcast live, and we were going to celebrate the one within the one to be the one and only champion. And honestly, bro, I mean, it still hurts, man. Honestly, it still hurts. Um, I knew things weren't right once Wednesday started,
Hmm.
when George Pickens, gave me total of 8 points. Um, I always have the strategy: you start your studs, but things weren't looking good from initially. And then of course, then Zay Flowers gave me 5, and at the end it wasn't as bad because he had the kicker, which didn't blew up, so there was still a chance. Then Thursday, DeAndre Swift, as well. But then Saturday came in, and then I feel like it was the end. That Saturday morning, it was like, man, I wake up, I said, Jamar Chase, he's gonna be the one that'll take me to a promised land. Because at the end, I wasn't worried at first. I was like, well, Jamar Chase hasn't played, Josh Allen hasn't played, Devon A. Chain, Bucky Irvin, they haven't played. Let's do it.
Hmm.
And then the first breaking news I got in the morning was with the whole, with Truba, and that was like, what? I mean, there was no indication that he was injured. Did you think anything of that essence, that he was injured or something?
Nah, they like. I think they brought up. I was looking at it. They were saying that he had like an injury, but it wasn't like at this point at that point of the year, everybody's injured. You know,
Yeah,
so I didn't think it was that serious. But then when they said no, you were shutting him down, I was like, wow.
yeah, yeah.
It's understandable. They're not fighting for anything. So
Yeah, they completely shut him down. So that was already the first breaking news. Yeah, things weren't right. I mean, the fly, I actually was not paying attention to the chat, and then suddenly I just started getting calls. Franklin called me. He called me in a four-way with Steven and Danny telling me, "Oh, Chuba, he's done." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And actually, I went to see, and yeah, he's put in IR. So that already put me in the hole. And then Tua was doubtful. So you know what that means. Devon A. Chain was going to be, limited.
mhm.
But then said, well, you know what? I need a 40-point game from a Jamar Chase and a 40-point from Josh Allen. And it's possible. It could happen. And Jamar Chase did his thing. But the last thing that I would have expected, Pedro,
Yeah.
is T. Higgins, the number 2 wide receiver. So right there in the same game with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins gave him a 40-pointer. And I remember, and I as things it was going to overtime, I said, well, you know what? Maybe this is the time. This was going to be the moment that Jamar Chase was going to do his part. And because last week it took overtime for me to get back, I said, well, here we go, Jamar Chase. But then instead it was T. Higgins who took him out of the promised land. And I'll tell you this, man, Ralphie, the guy, this guy did not even pay attention all year long, and that's what frustrates me. This guy did not pay attention all year long, stayed in his zone, had a horrible draft, and then at the end he pulls up a 201 point game. Bucky, I knew Mike Evans was going to have, so then we go on to Sunday. Yeah, basically, it was going towards the end. I'm like, you know what? I'm going with a Hail Mary. I'm benching Devontae Smith. I'm going to go ahead and go with Wicks. It was going to be a shootout. And you can tell this guy had the luck of his life, man, because Bucky Irvin ran the ball down the thing all the way to the 1 yard line. Then instead of giving it to him, they threw it to Mike Evans. I was like, what the heck? They gave it to him. So I'm telling you, it was not my day. It was not. And I'm telling you, I bet, and I'll put it like this, if Ralphie and I will play on a 7-game series, I would win the grand majority of the games.
Oh, this isn't baseball. This isn't baseball. They don't play 7-game series.
It doesn't. Yeah, I know. But this is what happens when you play, a 1-game elimination. Things will happen. Luckiness will go in. And this guy was going to, but I bet, and I can rest assured that if Ralphie and we will play in a 7-game series, I will end up beating him. And I would have been the champion. So yeah, I mean, honestly, congrats, Ralphie. You deserve it. Great team. You put a championship performance. But man, it really left a sour taste, man. I was 14-1. Pedro, 14-1, something that has never been done in this league. And then this guy out of the blue moon will come in and take over. No, it's like, so I'm still haven't been able to recover this, man. And it will take some time. I'm decided to go into this podcast because you've been begging me to get into this podcast, so I decided to join, but it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. There was no luck in my team. When you're 14-1, there was no luck, man. So that's all I have to say, man.
Listen, I need to amend a couple of things that you said there, because Ralphie, yes, he wasn't really into the chat in the very beginning, but he was invested, bro, because he went into the draft, and he had, in my opinion, top 3 drafts of the Guru League that this year, because in his team there's like just in wide receivers, when he drafted, he had maybe 5 top 20 players.
Yeah,
he did very well in the draft, and he didn't really need to do anything. And then he did the trade for Mike Evans with Danny, and he got Drake London, and of course everything started working in his favor. And I said it, and like I remember that. Didn't I bring this up? I said it was going to be Ralphie and you for the finals. I said it in the very beginning.
Yeah. This was the matchup that people wanted it. Ralphie, I am not. I see your message. I am not lucky. I did not get lucky for 14 games, because when you're 14-1, sometimes it requires, and the highest score in the league requires some form of good team.
Yeah, but the lowest points against. That's another thing. So you gotta bring the good with the bad.
I don't know about that. I scored the most, more than anybody. So it doesn't matter if I'm the lowest scoring against or anything, but I was the highest scorer, so that makes my team good. So
yeah, and also I want to bring it up because Danny did say that this may just be a T. Higgins game, because Patrick Surtain was on him. This was going to be one of those games, and he did well for somebody for Patrick Surtain being on him for the majority of the game. He put up 20 points. I think it was 19 points that he put up at the end.
Yeah.
He did well.
Ja'Marr Chase did his thing. I mean, I would have wanted more, but he did his thing. It was just T. Higgins, that kind of like did what he never did. 3 touchdown, 40-point game,
Yeah, but hey, listen, Alfredo, at the end of the day, 10 years to the day, you lost again in the finals against a Rookie of the Year candidate. So you know what? It's okay. And 10 years again, when you're in the finals again, because it looks like it's going to be a repetitive thing every 10 years, you could probably get it this time. Third time's the charm.
Hey, Joe, man, I'll tell you this, man. It's very hard to get back to the finals. I mean, the good thing about it, unlike other years, we have a keeper league system, so you can basically keep your core, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ralphie and we face off again in the finals again next year. Because this is a keeper league, and we're gonna keep our best players, and it could happen. Maybe I don't have to go to another 10 years, because when you do a redraft, it starts over, and here you're building your team, you're building. So I mean, who knows what could happen. I mean, I would love to face him. I know they were talking about rivalry week. I would have initially wanted either Danny or you in rivalry week, but I do want Ralphie. I want Ralphie in the rivalry week next year. I want him twice.
You want him twice a year?
I want him twice a year, and I want to make sure that I end up, beating him. So,
okay,
because it left a sour taste, and that's it.
Everybody gets a request, right? Everybody gets a request, just like the NFL. Everybody says they don't want to go to Miami in the summer. You know what? I guess you want to straight up go to Ralphie. You want to have Ralphie twice a year and possibly one more time in the playoffs.
Exactly. I don't want Daniel. I don't want anything. So,
Well, listen.
And I'll tell you this. I mean, people want to talk about that my team was completely healthy, that I didn't have any injuries, and this and that. I mean, I had some sort of injuries. I mean, the guys that I drafted, I knew that they weren't going to be. For example, Josh Allen. I picked up in the draft to get him because I knew that Josh Allen doesn't get hurt. They weren't injury prone. I didn't have an injury prone. Ja'Marr Chase, had an injury in his second year, and then other than that, that's it. Nothing else. He's been there consistently. So, it happens, bro. It happens, and I'm just past it. It'll take me a while. I won't be in the chat as much because I don't even want to see the name Ralphie anywhere. So
yeah. It's okay, Alfredo. Listen, we'll move on because I see the pain in your eyes. You barely want to be here. You rather be anywhere else than here talking about this specific topic. But at the end of the day, we know you lost. You took it like a man, even though you're out here complaining. But you know what? It's okay. Anybody will complain in this situation.
Absolutely, man. But I do want to talk about something else. And now, I mean, like they call it the Two versus Clown podcast. I mean, this is definitely a depressing now. We're going to talk about your pain, Pedro. I mean, I need a therapist. Can we find a therapist around here? Because this is just going to be
a fantasy football therapist. Yeah, sure.
I need a fantasy football therapist. I need, Consuelo. I need, to be taken care of, because now we're going to talk about you. Pedro, when we were in Buffalo Wild Wings on Sunday, you felt that you ended up, because all year long we were saying Pedro was the favorite to be the clown. And when we were there on Sunday, we felt that, well, Pedro, you did it. You escaped being the clown. I even told Mom, well, at least your son won't be a champion, but your son won't be the clown. And then, the pigeons, I don't know what happened, bro.
Steven, it's exactly what it was. The pigeons can't ride all the way to Daytona where Ralphie lives, so they had to find a place really close to attack, and they came from my team because you thought that you weren't going to need the pigeons to do anything for Steven, but unfortunately, Steven asked for your help and you obliged. You told him, all right, who do you want to take out? Take out his running backs because that's what was going to help him on Sunday. And guess what happened? Both my running backs, I was watching it double screen. One screen was one game, one screen was the next game. I first saw Jerome Ford go down, and then not so long ago, I saw, and the funny thing, I didn't see it. All I saw was Cam Akers running for a touchdown. I'm like, why is Cam Akers running in for a touchdown? Where's Aaron Jones?
Wow.
And I look, and then later on I see Aaron Jones out, not coming back. I was like, wow. And at that point, because I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't care so much of what his team was doing. I was up way too much on his team and on his team. It wasn't, if everybody just did something similar to what they were supposed to do, I would win. And unfortunately,
they would have kept on maybe getting a few carries. Yeah, you would have won because
he already had 11 points. If he would have scored that touchdown, I would have got Aaron Jones probably around 20 some odd points, and that would have kept me out of the clown bowl. Jerome Ford got injured pretty much in the first half of the game, so he only really had 2 points. So it hurt. It hurt because, bro. And the funny thing is, look, I was thinking about it. Bro, Steven's going to be the clown, bro. And when I got there, I got there late because I'm late to everything. I got there late, and I already see in Steven's face he's just drained. Like, it looked like he hasn't slept since Thursday. and I'm over there saying, what's going on? Like, what has been happening this whole get together? And then I get filled in that Danny has been.
We were actually, I think we were about to see a fist fight between Danny and Steven, because Danny is one of those. Think about it. I'm maybe one of his biggest rivals. I was there. He wasn't getting on me. He was getting on Steven. Yeah, he was just having a blast getting on Steven. And trust me, his kids were there in front of him. I actually patted him in the back and said, bro, you got this, man. Don't worry. And they got him, and he was about to. And I'll tell you this: he was this close to fight Daddy. I think it would have gotten really nasty because the fly just kept on.
The Guru League would have had to bail him out of jail. I get it.
It would have to. It would probably have gone into that because just learn. Daddy, just stop getting into people's pain. But
bro, all I'm saying is, I saw the pain in his eyes, and when I went in to go in for the handshake when I first got there, he was like, "It's over, man. You won, bro." And the funny thing is, and we're gonna go and talk about rules and things that happen. That's a rule. He even said it. Steven said it. Once you give up, once you concede victory, that's it. You shouldn't be able to win anymore.
So you're saying that Steven should have still lost?
Just for conceding victory, he should have lost. But no, I'm not gonna go over there and do that to him. But you know what? This is a very important lesson for me, because just because somebody is already down, that doesn't mean you don't kick them. Now, from now on, I am going to kick everybody when they're down. I'm gonna make sure that I could beat you with everything. I was looking the night before at the Bills defense because you had dropped them, and I said, I think they're probably gonna have a good game. I don't know how, because I thought that the defense I had, the Green Bay defense, was gonna do okay, but a Bills defense is probably gonna do better. I should pick them up and start them. I would have still lost because I looked at it. I would have still lost.
No, you wouldn't,
because they put up 22 points, and I lost by. I think it was. Let me see if I can look at it.
You lost by 14.
By 14. Well, no, I would have won. That's the case, but still.
Yeah, you would have won, bro. Because and that's the thing, Pedro. Here's where, and you read my mind because I was actually going to bring this up. This is a perfect example that we need to look things far ahead.
Mm.
Think about it. You had Green Bay defense against Minnesota. Everybody knew that it was going to be a high scoring game, even
No,
for Minnesota. Huh?
no. There are plenty of experts that say there was going to be it wasn't going to be a high scoring game. There was going to be the most game. The thing's going to be scored is in the is like early 20s or late teens.
Look at the betting line. The betting lines
Mm-hmm.
for Green Bay, Minnesota, the over and under, the highest was Green Bay, Minnesota. It was Tampa Bay and Carolina was another one, but Green Bay, Minnesota on the betting line
Mm-hmm.
was the highest. That means they were projecting that it was going to be a high scoring game. That's why I picked up the Green Bay receivers because I thought they were going, shootout. And that's the thing, Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
You had the opportunity. If you knew that there was a potential that it could be a shootout, Minnesota is either picking against Minnesota offense or the Jets offense.
No, yeah, I get you. And that's why I'm saying next time I'm gonna in every single game it doesn't matter if I'm projected to win. It doesn't matter if they're already down a lot. I am going to put the dagger in the heart to make sure that they're dead before I move on to the next game.
But again, this should have been done from week 12, week 11. And I'm telling you this, and I mentioned in a podcast earlier, Steven, and actually it pissed me off because I wanted the Los Angeles defense. I believe in kickers and defense. Steven picked up the Chargers defense. I think he picked them up around week 11.
Yeah.
Week
the
12.
Same time that I picked up the Green Bay defense. Because I picked up the Green Bay defense believing that they had a great matchup for basically the first week of the Clown Bowl. And
Green Bay?
Green Bay, yeah.
No. The Charger, if you look Green Bay.
Look at it. Look at what happened. I was right.
They had New Orleans.
They had New Orleans. They had a good week.
Okay.
Let's go back. Hold on. Week 16. Week 16, they put up 17 points. That was a bad week.
No, that was good. That was a good
All right. So I was right. The problem is the week after that. I didn't think that this game was going to get to the week after, to be honest. I thought I was going to win this week because I thought that I was going to have what I got. I thought I was going to be in the late 130s, early 140s. And guess what? I was exactly there. But if I would have played anybody else, which I'm going to get to it now, if I would have played anybody else, I would have beat them. But of course, Danny had a career game, put up 200 points. I don't know if I think it may be the most points he's ever put up in the year against me that week. But if I would have played Kokis or I would have played Steven, I would have killed him. And exactly how it went. And then we go back to Steven benching his team, benching his Jerry Jeudy versus you for no reason. There's no reason to do it. You're already probably gonna beat him. There's no reason to bench him. But he did it to help you, or he believed that he wasn't going to help you. I don't know at the end what happened. But the one that should have stepped in was Franklin to change that and make him start somebody at the very least. And he would have ended up playing Jeudy and beating you.
Yeah, he would have ended up beating me.
I would have faced him. Kokis would have faced Danny, and it would have been Steven and Kokis in the Clown Bowl. And Kokis would be the clown, not me.
I mean, those are things that's why, I mean, people get on Franklin's case. He is a great commissioner, but sometimes in moments like that, he might not maybe make the take the balls, situation.
No cojones. We get you.
And I know he's driving up north. I mean, but absolutely. I mean, who knows about Franklin? But I mean, hey, that's why things happen. That's why you need to take care of business so you don't let other things influence. And
I get you.
I mean, the Chargers defense, but you put this stop. Buffalo defense,
yeah,
or Green Bay defense, and I dropped Buffalo because I had the Colts defense, and then because they were playing against the Giants,
and you thought that they were gonna do
well. Yeah. Outside. I think everybody picked them, and look what happened. -4. So then you had the opportunity to get the Buffalo defense, and you didn't.
And I did it. And I was looking at it before the night before and the day of before I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? I should start them. I should start it. It looks to be a perfect opportunity. I'll make the points. Everything will be good. But then I said, you know what? There's no reason. I should win even without them because I was projected for more points than a lot more points. I was projected. I think at that time it was like 130.
Yeah.
And look what happened. I had two running backs. Where does that happen? Two running backs in the same time at the same 4:00 window on my team go down. Obviously, if that would have happened before, I would have said, you know what? Now I have to play this defense.
But by the time it was already too late, man.
It was already too late.
But Pedro, I mean,
it's okay, bro.
Like Koki said, a lot of could have, should have. You know, you're the clown. Now
it's okay.
Officially you're the clown. You have 8 months to get ready. What's your thought, Pedro? Has it same thing that you are officially the clown?
It's okay, bro. Listen, this is what I needed. Look, it's funny just how you had to face another rookie of the year candidate in the finals. Basically, I beat you. I was number 1, and it took 10 years to come down again and be number 10. I needed to get to this point to be like, you know what? I have to pay more attention. I can't just rest on my laurels, and I have to go in. And when I see the opportunity to destroy somebody, to take it. Yeah, look at you. You use pigeons and everything, bro. And now we got 9-8 months before we draft again, and I have to go into Buffalo Wild Wings. Put on the makeup.
Yep.
Put on the getup, the whole thing. So I have a plan. Of course, I have to have a plan. It's gonna be 6 months of lifting weights nonstop. And it's gonna be 2 months of dropping weight, getting rid of all the water, and then I'm gonna have maybe a contact or two at Buffalo Wild Wings if it's still there, because who knows what may happen.
Yep.
And have a contact or two over there and be like, lower the music, put the music higher, lower the lights. I'll probably pay to install some a spotlight at Buffalo Wild Wings, so when I come through the door, I can come in dancing and doing my thing. If Kokis, if you want a sword, I'll show you a sword. I'll show you a clown sword, and we'll figure it out.
Pedro, let me ask you: would you ask? Because Steven, as he was realizing that he was, being the clown, he was asking for some mercy, and he was actually backing off a little bit of being the full clown suit and just wear a mask. And you were willing.
Of course. Look, man, this is the thing.
So would you do the same thing? Would you want that same to you?
I don't expect the same sympathy. No.
Why not? No, but would you want to? Would you want, if you ask for it, it could be done. I mean, I would vote for you not to be the full clown. I'll do a breaking news because people were willing to do it for Steven. Well, then the same thing should be done to you. Wear the clown. Would you be fine just wearing the clown mask?
Can I still come ripped and with my shirt off?
I don't know.
The Buffalo Wild Wings allows it probably. But.
I mean, clown mask is completely different from the clown suit. I mean, if you willing to go with the clown, just the clown mask, I mean, I would be okay with that, because like I said, Steven wanted that mercy. He was asking for it. He did not, and we were going to do it. So
let's look at one thing. Last year there were supposed to be punishments for several people in the league, for collusion, for you for backing out of a trade that you didn't have.
I don't remember that.
Oh, now you don't remember. Ask Steven. I
don't remember that.
I remember he made a huge stink about you trading. I think it was for Tua, and there was a whole It was a whole thing. You may not remember, but it happened.
I don't remember. So do you want the same merciness for
And
you?
all those punishments were expelled. No punishments for anybody, and no one got docked a draft pick, and everybody went into the draft clean as a newborn baby. Now, am I expecting that same thing? I'm not going to ask for it because as men, we say we have into a what's it called a decision in the beginning of the year, and this was what we said we were going to do. If you guys decide to change that, that's a different story. But I'm not going to ask for a lighter sentence.
Okay. Maybe. Hey, maybe it could happen, bro. Like, it'll, you know. Remember, the Two versus Brother podcast is essential in the Guru League. So
What are you trying to say that I'm not going to go through with it?
no. But I mean, the league knows how important you are, man. And like I said, the Two versus Brother podcast enhances the Guru League. So who knows?
Let's see what happens.
Who knows what happened? But Pedro, let's talk about our last subject. I know you needed to go. The hot topic now. We moved past 2024. Now let's talk about the keepers, and just specifically about our teams, both of our teams. I mean, the rest we can just dedicate a podcast maybe later on who we think the rest. But Pedro, in your case, who are you targeting to keep in your team? And then I'll say mine.
Well, look, there's one guy for sure, and that's gonna be Lad McConkey. The guy is a stud. Armando, thank you. That acquisition really helped me out. Lad McConkey looks like the real deal, and anybody that could have seen this from the beginning of the draft that this guy's gonna be what he is now is a liar. It's impossible. You couldn't have seen what this guy was going to be. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, a guy that could give him the ball as many times as he needs it. We've seen him get pass happy in the past and decide to throw the ball to a single guy, that Keenan Allen guy. That's what Lad McConkey is. So that's going to be my first keeper. After that, it gets foggy depending on what happens with David Montgomery. Because if David Montgomery, it looks like he's coming back to Detroit. If he decides to come back to Detroit, he looks like he's going to come back in the playoffs. So he's not going to have surgery, according to what I read. And
that's a good thing, at least.
That's a good thing, at least. So if he does well in the playoffs, that's going to be my guy. Obviously, anything could happen. He may get traded. We still have to see. That third guy.
Remember, you don't have to keep every guy. You can just
but it doesn't make any sense not to. It's if they're just there, they're gonna be 10th round keepers. It's not. Yeah. I'm not keeping anybody that's gonna be a high round draft pick. So the only person that I'm looking at there, and to see what may happen might just be anyone from. What happens with Keenan Allen? What happens with what's it called? Deontay Johnson, because he did go to Houston. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. Let's see what happens in the offseason.
Okay. Well, before we go, let's go into our chats here from the Guru from the Two versus Brother podcast. Ralphie, I'll read his comment for the record. Alfredo, you had a spectacular season. If it wasn't me in the chip against you, I would have low-key been rooting for you. Your lifetime record is super impressive, and you deserve to win a chip. It was a pleasure to be in the Guru League this year, and can't wait to see what next year brings. Ralphie, you did very good in your first year. Congratulations. I know nothing of this is personal. I know you for some long time. I have mad respect to you, your family. This is all fantasy football, and yes, I know the lifetime. I do have the best record of all time in this league, and it happens. We have another comment from Lokokis. Respect, Pedro. You're the man. Can't wait to see you ripped.
Definitely.
That I guess he's looking forward no matter what you're gonna have. and then we have another message from Guru. I guess this is from Franklin.
Mm.
Alfredo, your eyes look swollen. I mean, what,
He's over there crying his eyes out.
yeah, I mean,
But Alfredo,
it happens. It
I did
happens.
want to bring one thing up more before you left, because I know I have to go in the next few minutes. And what do you think of Steven's kids coming into the league next year?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I had a chance to meet them this Sunday. I mean, I saw them before, but meet them here. I mean, I am looking forward to have them there. I mean, I can tell that they're as passionate, and that's the thing. You have to be passionate and knowledgeable of football. They're as passionate and maybe even more than Steven. And I mean, I'm looking forward. I heard them in the podcast and the newly formed Lopez podcast. You know, I mean, I did want to ask. I mean, Steven should add them already into the chat. I mean, I would love to have them already in the chat.
Mhm.
Have them there. We're already thinking about next year. So yeah, I have no issues with them.
Yeah, I think Franklin's the one that has to add them. So let's see.
Okay, yeah. So Franklin should add them into the chat, and then at least so we can start trash talking. Hey, before you go, my last keepers, in which we didn't get a chance. I mean, it is a tough call on the keepers, and listening to the Lopez podcast. It's funny how they like to pick up from my team. So it looks like that I had a good team. It hurts because I wouldn't want to give up anybody. I have Jamar Chase. Possibly I can keep Devon A. Chain. I can also keep Josh Allen as a third round quarterback, a third round pick. I have Bucky Urban, or I have Chuba, or even George Pickens in the fifth round. So I have six potential tough decisions to make. Right now, I'm going with so far. I'm leaning to Jamar Chase, first round. I mean, it's nothing I can do there because if I don't take him, I'll pick him toward the end of the first round, so I'm not going to get him. Um, Devon H is a second. That's my tough one. It's either Devon H
Mhm.
or Bucky Irvin or Truba. Most likely, I'll probably keep Devon A. I mean, I'm gonna always go back and forth every day until the moment that we get to decide. And then either Bucky Irvin or Truba. Out of the two, I'm going with Bucky Irvin because just looking at him, he looks more impressive. Jonathan Brooks, even though he won't come back toward the end, but he is there in the back burner. They did pick them up in the second round, so he could be someone potentially. And maybe I'll pull up the biggest surprise and I get Josh Allen because I do know that Josh Allen, someone's gonna take him before I have the chance to take him in round three. And I don't know. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. I think in a 12-man league, quarterback is essential, and as you saw this year, running backs as well is important. But wide receivers is a thing. Look at Rafi. He won because of his wide receivers, and sometimes you need those big performance with wide receivers than anything else.
Yeah,
So,
of course, Alfredo.
yeah,
Uh,
tough call. So right now, Chase,
uh-huh.
A Chain, and Bucky.
And that may change.
And that might change. I'm next by next hour I might change it because
we
it's
got
tough
we
call.
have a whole off season to think about
I
this.
have a whole off season to think about it, bro.
So don't worry about it, Alfredo. We shall reconvene at the Two versus Brother podcast is not going away. We have another podcast to compete with, the Lopez Family Podcast, whatever
We have
their name is.
we have the Fly podcast too. Everybody deciding to have their own podcast.
Mhm.
Pedro, I mean, I would love to see if you can have Ralphie in this podcast. Maybe a face off, but give it maybe like a week or two until I really won't be able to see him without
Yeah,
telling him. So I think give it some time. But I would love to have Ralphie in this podcast and you know give his point. Maybe you want to be with him one on one. That's fine.
hey,
So
who knows, man? All I know is that I have to, whenever it is that I see him, I have to shake his hand because he is the guy that pretty much kept my championship as the only championship in the family. There you go.
yeah, congrats. I mean, I do have the ring here in which I have to give it to Ralphie because I kept it. Surprisingly, of all people, I guess people knew what was gonna happen. I was gonna have to give him the ring, so
Wow.
I kept it and I have to give it to him. But yeah, Ralphie was the one to beat the one within the one.
So he is the one.
I guess he is the one, bro. Guys, pleasure. Good podcast, Pedro. Two versus Blood podcast is not going anywhere.
There you go. All right, guys. Goodbye. Next time that you see me in person might just be as a clown. Sexy clown though.
I'm still going to recover from this and let's see how it goes.
All righty, guys. Till next time.
All right, bro.
There you go, man.
Very good, man.